Let me just recap quick what we were saying. All right, that if we're doing a 1-4-5 in A, the background chords are basically major type sounding chords, but we're going to use minor pentatonic against it.
Okay.
Using the A minor pentatonic, say just staying in this area. Right. If you're on the 1 chord, you might want to at some point. I mean, this is pretty inconsequential that I did a slide from this note. It's just an effect, just going up to that note there. Really, that's the note I'm playing, the flat third. Once in a while, on that 1 chord, you may want to bring in the major third. Doing that. You can go down like that. You can do that, right to it. You can hammer to it. You can bend to it. You can bend up to it like that.
Okay.
So that would be on the 1 chord to try to get that note in sometimes.
Okay.
When it switches to the 4 chord, you probably want to stay on this one if you're there. I mean, on the 4 chord, you wouldn't want to do that as a rule. You want to stick to this one here, which is a flatted 7th note of the 4 chord. It's a D chord.
Okay, it's a D chord, but that note that you're concentrating on is like
is the flat 7.
Okay, which would be a C.
Which
right?
gives that down. Yeah, it is.
Okay.
But it gives that dominant 7 sound. You know, it's because we're basically using a dominant chord on the 1. The dominant chord on the 4. Dominant chord. You're using dominant chord in all the chords, and then the 5. So the basic harmony is like a dominant 7th.
Okay.
Root 3rd, 5th, flat 7 of each chord. On the 1 chord, when you bring in this note here with the minor pentatonic, that's the flat 7. So that works nice. That's the root of the 1 chord. Flat 7, the 5th of the 1 chord. Right? What's that relation to the 1? That's the 4. You're just kind of passing through it. 4th note of the 1 chord. But when you do this one, you're doing the flat 3rd of the 1 chord, which is a minor 3rd against what really is a major 3rd in the chord. Because in the chord you have a major 3rd. So when you do this note against it, if you're using minor pentatonic, you're kind of bringing in the minor sound against the chord. So a lot of times you'll want to resolve it up to give it that major.
And we're still in the 1
That's
chord.
the 1, yeah. Then when you go to the 4, we were concentrating on that note still. Using that note there, which is the flat 7 of the 4 chord. So with the background playing a little bit. That's 1. So here's just one idea. Right? 4. So I'm not bothering to bend up on the 4 chord.
Okay.
Because when I hit that note there, I want it to be that flat 7.
Okay.
And that's 1. So whether I bend or hammer, I'm on the 4. And the 5, I'm not really thinking about it too much right now. Back to 1. Now, this thing here, going from the flat 3rd to the major 3rd, you get that same thing up here. So when I go on the 1 chord, until it gets back to the 1. But when I do this, if I do that, it's the same thing as that.
Okay.
Right? So this is the same as. Right? Okay. And when I'm on the 4 chord, getting that one feels the same as doing that note without the bend.
Okay.
So here's 1. 5, I'm not really thinking very much yet.
So what's interesting about that is that on the, I think it's the 4 chord that I'm most interested in right now. Is the fact that you're not landing on the D. You're basing this idea
on the flat 7 a lot.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And that's really interesting because I'm trying to find my way back to that, especially when I'm doing pentatonic. And if I'm kind of there, it's just
I think a lot of it is that's the root of the chord, right?
Right.
And so much of the time that's being hit by the bass player,
right?
Anyways,
okay,
and giving it away. I mean, you can play it certainly; it sounds
right.
fine, and it sounds like it hits something that's within the chord and all that. But I think a lot of times the person who is soloing is bringing out other scale tones and other chord tones,
right? So if you were so in playing this, if you just wouldn't mind, we'll run with the thing and just kind of have you jam over it. So in your approach, if this was just to come on, they'd say, "Go ahead and play, Bob." You wouldn't find yourself landing on it's not part of your thing to kind of look for that
chord,
D.
Well,
to find it to bring out tones, because like what you said, which makes a lot of sense, is that the rest of the rhythm is kind of the bass player.
Well, for instance, when I'm on that 1 chord, a lot of times I will end up on the root.
Okay.
Right. So it's like flat 3rd, major 3rd, and then root. The 4 chord, I don't know. Let's see, what do I think about that one? I mean, the root would be there on the 4 chord. You're right. I mean, I would tend to revolve around that. I mean, at least what I'm feeling right now with this. I mean, in terms of, instead of, I'm not really feeling myself getting pulled to that root a lot.
Right.
I mean, I'm just kind of, I might hit it once in a while, but I'm really thinking of this as kind of the focus. And I think, well, you know what? Really I think it kind of works because it's this common thread between the 1 chord and the 4 chord, that this note being the flat 7 of the 4 chord and the flat 3rd of the 1 chord, which you want to bring, your ear wants to kind of do that major thing with it, to bring it up to the major 3rd. That note kind of serves the dual purpose, so it's a good, easy place to kind of stay. I mean, I could put this on.
So yeah, let's focus on that for, because I like that.
So this idea of like just kind of staying on the same note even. Just a couple notes. That is the root of the 5th chord. Then we're resolving to the root of the 1. The flat 7 over the 4. And again, it serves as kind of a springboard to get back to the 1 chord, that note. So it's kind of very functional, that way, I'm going to just play a little bit, not worry so much about staying there, but